My breakfast this morning is coffee, and I used the last of that heavy whipping cream to make some whipped cream this morning. So I have enough for probably 3 cups of coffee. The last of my cantaloupe that I picked several days ago, the big one, and leftover chili relleno casserole. I think it's around 90 out there, and there's a slight chance of rain. I'm thinking of working outside. I'm gonna make this chicken dish that I told you all about yesterday. If you watched my video, I just don't want to overdo it and then be too tired to make the casserole. This casserole I made, I learned how to do it. One of my friends, one of the first people I met when I got stationed in Germany, taught me how to make this casserole. It's very simple. It's made with chicken and rice, and I love Germany. I didn't so much the first little while I was there because it rained constantly. The first year I was there, it rained all the time and dreary skies. And then I think the next year we had a drought, a massive drought in the middle of summer. It was hot and humid, and then I wish it would rain. I used to Volksmarch all the time. I used to just jump in my car and go off a lot of times by myself, especially when the friends I knew left and went on to a different place. I occasionally would have somebody to go with, but most of the people I knew were married, or had a significant other, so they didn't spend a lot of time hanging out with friends. But I was looking through my photo albums, and I want to show you some of them just for fun. So I went on a TDY to Spain one time. We used to go every year, and so in the fall and the spring for I think it was a month, and I got an incentive flight in an F-16. That is me. It wasn't fun. I wanted to do it just once. It was not fun. First off, the plane that we took was another AMU's Aircraft Maintenance Unit's jet. I knew I was a maintenance scheduler, so I had to make sure that all of the required maintenance was done, and they were dragging their feet doing that. So I didn't have a lot of confidence in their jets. But I think we took two-seater jets, and the rest are one-seaters. So I got a incentive flight, but it was not our jet. We were the Blue, the 10th, and I had to fly in, I think it was a yellow. There was yellow and orange. I wasn't too happy about that, especially when I was sitting there waiting for my flight, but then it got delayed because the jet broke. So I sat there worrying. I'm already a nervous flyer, so you can imagine how I felt about going up in a jet that they just fixed. And I did take a Dramamine, but it didn't help because I got sick. And you're talking to the pilot and you get a VHS tape of the flight, and it shows what they can see outside their view. And then you can hear us talking. And he told me if you get sick, just go cold mic so I don't hear it. And I did that over and over again. I need to have that digitalized before it disintegrates if it hasn't already. But that was not a fun trip. The whole time, they give you a little bit of, they show you where the ejection thing is, which is between your legs in case something happens and you're told, and they tell you, I think it's, oh, what was it? It might be eject, eject, eject. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. Anyway, they tell you, they explain what to do. So my hand was near that ejection pull cord the whole time. And the jet is controlled with a, I don't know, it looks like a game controller. And you move it like a game controller. And he tried to engage these other two jets and they went off. So he's gonna try and have a little F-16 fight with them, but they left. So did not get to do that. And then we were just wandering around, and he taught me how to do an aileron roll, and he let me do it. And it made me sicker than I already was. So, and I did it really jerky. And then he said, I'll show you, you got to do it smoothly. And I had to go cold mic. So he's like, do you want to try it again? And I'm like, no, I'm good. So I was just going through my pictures, and I found one of our house in the hills in Kentucky when we first moved here. It's on strip mine land, so there were a lot of boulders in here. If you can see this. This is my flower bed. This is my son. He was adorable. You go back a little ways, maybe 50 feet, and it drops off. But we were building our house. You can see it doesn't have siding on it yet. Just, it took us forever. We built it ourselves. We were poor, very poor. It was right after, so I got out of the Air Force first, and then he got out. And we moved from Arizona to Kentucky. And here, I don't know if we had started, I don't think we had started plowing this yet. But I had a garden, a raised bed over here, because the ground was full of rocks. And we tilled up this area later. And I was trying to make a market garden. But I had cosmos back then too, the pink ones. And I found a picture of my grandmother, my mom's mom, with my brother, my oldest brother. He was born in Japan. And sadly, after my parents left, she never got to see them again. This is that same flower bed later. This was in 1996 apparently. And I think most of those are 4 o'clocks. And when I first started my YouTube channel, I think I mentioned that after I I stopped working and I was raising my kids, I was so bored. I tried selling Tupperware down in the hills, and I tried starting a market garden. None of it worked. And also, my kids had a bunch of cousins, so there was always, and uncles, aunts and uncles. So we always had fairly good-sized birthday parties for them. And I started making my kids cakes, and because we didn't have a lot of money. And I made piñatas too. But here's one of the cakes. This is my son's birthday. He wanted a, it's his 5th birthday, looks like. He wanted a, yeah, it says on the back, Blank's 5th birthday cake. It gave me a backache trying to make all those little creatures and fill them in. And here's my daughter. This was in 1997. She was helping me garden. This was a new flower bed on the side of the house with an outbuilding we were building. I can't remember if this is my raised bed or it's over here, the vegetable garden. I don't know. So this is part of my son's room when we moved. I painted this. I took one of his coloring books and I just drew the pictures and then I painted them. This is how bored I was. And it was so dreary that I painted my ceilings pink, like it was called cotton candy pink, that I got at Walmart. And most of the walls were this color. So I found this picture of me in Paris in 1990. I don't know if you can see that jean jacket. But I love that jacket. I bought that in the 80s. I don't remember where I bought it, but I loved it. I might have bought it in Tucson. But it had like the puffy sleeves, and it has like ribbing partway in the sleeves. I don't know if you can tell. It's not just a plain little jacket. The only pockets are on the side. But I really love that jacket, and I kept it for years. And about maybe 2 years ago, I gave it to my daughter finally, because I realized I was never gonna fit into it again. But I would so wear that jacket if I still had it, if I still could fit in it. My daughter loves it, so. Okay, back to Germany. This might be really super boring. I'm sorry if you find it, but I love Germany. And I really like my second apartment. It was partially in the basement of this house. And there was a family that lived, an Air Force family that lived above me with their 2 little girls. I had plants everywhere. But I loved the big, I don't know if they're marble or what, some kind of stone window sills. And they were huge, and you could put plants in vases. And I used to just every once in a while go to the supermarket in the nearby town and pick up some flowers or go on base and buy some. And they were so cheap. And I bought some pretty lacy curtains. People would say they're old-fashioned now, but I loved them back then. And sadly, I had to give away all my plants when I left. And I love the Rollatons that used to come down on the windows. I think somebody gave me this couch, and I just bought I think I had a catalog from JCPenney's, and I bought a couch cover to go on it. I made this pillow. There was another one that kind of matches. Mauve was in back then in the 80s. And there's one of my Turkish lamps soon after I bought it. Some of this stuff, I don't even know what happened to these things. So weird. Oh, I used to be a collector, and I used to collect these dogs, different breeds of dogs from the Franklin Mint. I have no idea whatever happened to those. I don't know if I sold them at a yard sale. No idea. Okay. See my little red rotary phone, my German phone back there. There's my tiny little kitchen, again with a big windowsill. Well, wide windowsill. It wasn't really big. The kitchen was tiny, but it was fine. It had one tiny little bowl sink, very small. And then it had like the metal, like in the old-fashioned metal drain board type tops that drain into the sink, and you had a little water heater above that you had to heat up your water first and then wash your dishes. I miss my little apartment. I really liked it. I really love my bathroom. It had this really deep tub with a slanted back. So when I would go volts marching, I would just fill that tub up and soak in there forever. My landlord he couldn't really speak English, and all he kept telling me is too much Wasser all the time when he came to get the rent. Just sorry. But now you can't see. I got rid of these. Those are they're plastic frame little, I think they're ducks in a bathroom that I embroidered years and years ago. It also had a little shower, so I could either take a shower or a bath, so it was nice. And the shower had so you could prop your leg up and shave your legs. I love my bathroom. It's not my bathroom now. And I had a Wasserbetten, a water bed. I don't remember how I acquired that. I don't know if I bought it from somebody who was leaving. I might have bought it from the guy I got this. I think I got it from the guy that I got this apartment from when he left. Not positive, but I think that's what it was. But again, really wide. Window sills for plants and pictures. I bought these really cheap from JCPenney's because you could have them be sent to you at your APO address, and they had little covers on them, although this must be in the wash or something. I don't know. It's not there. I love that apartment. It was my second apartment, and the other one I had, the first one I had, so I moved off base almost immediately. The dormitories were packed with people. And I remember there being 5 women in our dorm room. Not positive if I'm just remembering that incorrectly. 4 or 5. It was overcrowded. So I applied to move out. I got approved. And I found a place in a little town called Vollenau that was close to the base, kind of close. And it was okay. The apartment was upstairs. The people were really nice. They were a German family. But the bathroom was downstairs. Well, down one flight. So it was not fun. And that toilet kept flooding. But then my friend was PCSing back to the States, and he offered me his apartment, and I said, I'll take it. And then he tried to back out because he liked this one woman, and he tried to give it to her instead. And I was like, you already promised it to me, Betty. Yeah, it's mine. I found one of the piñatas that I made when I was living down in southern Kentucky, kind of bored out of my mind. This was the very first one I made. It was a spider, if you can't tell. I made it out of newspaper, back when I used to read the paper. Strips of newspaper, what is that stuff called, where you mix glue and flour? I used a balloon, blew up a balloon. I can't remember what it's called. You cut strips of newspaper, you dip it in the flour and Elmer's glue mix, although I don't think I used Elmer's. I think I used the cheapest brand I could find. And you lay it over the balloon, and then it dries out, and usually the balloon will pop on its own when it dries, and you take it out. It leaves the cavity so you can fill it with candy. And then I used not crepe paper. I cut strips of little pieces of tissue paper up to decorate it, and I used cardboard to make like the eyes and stuff. Very labor intensive, but I made that for a family Halloween party we were having. Found another piñata from down yonder. This was for my son's birthday. There's no date on it. I don't know which one it was. As you can see, we were still working on the house, little by little. This alien was taller than me. He wanted an alien themed birthday. I'll cover his name up. And this was his cake. This was not good. 2, 4, 6. It looks like his 6th birthday. Yeah, I didn't do too good of a job on this one. This was an Easter piñata. My brother had given me his old computer when he bought a new one. That's the only reason I ever got on the internet, because we surely couldn't have afforded it otherwise. Look how old that computer is. So the piñatas are getting better. So we used to have like an Easter egg hunt in the middle of our properties. The land there, I think it was 15 acres originally, that was owned by my kid's father's, and he divided it up between his kids who wanted to move out there, and we got 2 acres of it. So there were 2 other families out there at the time, and everybody else would come up there too because there was enough land. And we would have Easter egg hunts and a big potluck and stuff. This is in 1999. It was close to the time, I think we moved up here around 2000. 2001, I don't remember, a couple years later. My kids are making a scarecrow. And I had big plans out here. We started building a rustic fence made out of tree limbs. Didn't get too far before we left. Another one from down south, my daughter. I don't know if you can see. This is before we had a dryer. So we kind of had a clothesline out there, and I despise hanging my clothes out. It would have been fine, except there were blackberries bushes around the mountain. Like, I don't know, I guess they were up the hill that way. And the birds used to come and poop dark purple all over my clothes. So I would end up having to wash them over and over and over again. It was so frustrating. So this is the only time my mom ever came to visit. You can see I used the kids' old crib, which was used too. But after my daughter outgrew it, I decided to use it as a trellis in the garden. And I think this is the very last one, the last piñata I ever made. It's a bee, and it's the best one. And then a sunflower cake. It's got cupcakes around it, and then a whole bunch of chocolate chips. That was a fun cake. I might try to make that again for game night. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the last piñata I made. Here's a close-up of the cake. It's got these little, what are they called? Pipe cleaner bees. I don't know if you can see them. I think I got them at, through the catalog. What is that called? The, where you can buy party favors, Oriental Trading Company. I used to get a lot of my stuff through them because they were cheap, and you could buy all kinds of weird things through them. Buy all kinds of fun little party favors for kids, parties and stuff through them. And decorations. I finally found one of the vegetable garden and my daughter. It was just a raised bed because the ground was so rocky. This was in 1999. I attempted to make a fall garden display with my garden produce. So here's the other part of my son's bedroom down south. I put a shark, had to make them all smiling so he wouldn't be afraid. And this is Nessie over here. All I did was copy one of his coloring books. This dresser my daughter ended up with it. It was an antique that we bought. I think it was $35 back in Arizona before my son was born. I painted it, I stripped it, painted it, and then put these decals on it. And later I painted it. I think it went to my daughter's room. And then later I painted it black. And my daughter, I think I painted it black just before I got exchange students for them. And then my daughter ended up with it, and I think the top cracked, and I think she has since gotten rid of it. But my favorite, the only room that finally got finished, it's not really finished in here, there's still, I can see strips, like the baseboard strips in here, the quarter round still propped up. But it's the only room, I think, that got completely finished in that little house. It was literally a 1-bedroom. There was a big living room, an open kitchen and dining area, a big bathroom, really big. So I wanted a big space so I could bathe the kids and not be cramped up by the toilet. And so, and then the master bedroom was a master bedroom and laundry room all in one. So there were plans to turn that into the laundry room eventually, and then my son's tiny little room was going to be a hallway that led to 2 more bedrooms, but that never happened. So the only room that got finished in the house was the bathroom, and I loved this bathroom. We did it all ourselves, but I just love it. I still like it. I did all the wallpapering myself, painting. My brother-in-law made this for me. Well, made it for his brother to give to me for Christmas, I think, one year. It is now out in the garage, and I was gonna take it to the thrift store that I still haven't done. But I put it on my dining area wall when I moved into this house. Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to some of this stuff. I brought all the plants back. Yeah, I really love this bathroom. All the fixtures were cheap. Couldn't really afford a big normal sink, you know, so we just got a little pedestal sink, which was fine. It worked. I did all so I used Walmart bags, the plastic bags, to texture the walls and texture the ceiling, because I had to do the drywall work myself and it wasn't perfect. So to hide some of the spots that weren't perfect, I just started using the plastic bags to hide. So all the walls in there were textured. Not a lot, but a little bit, to hide the imperfections. And of course it didn't matter with the wallpaper so much. But I love that wallpaper. I think the ex-brother-in-law even made this toilet paper holder for us. Another cute picture. Growing watermelon, and I think tomatoes. And we finally finished and painted the little outbuilding. I think I stenciled the door too. Yeah, I was bored. So I found a picture of my market garden. It was full of rocks and boulders, and we would take my husband at the time's truck and go out in around the mountain into the forest area that hadn't been stripped and get loads of dirt from the forest floor and add it to it, but it still was not great. You can see we made a scarecrow in there. I don't know if you can see that. The area, I think it was 40 feet long, was bigger than my house.